Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 18, verse 65. Continuation. We have already seen the explanations given by Swami Dayananda Saraswati and Swami Chinmayananda for this verse. While concluding Swami Chinmayanandaji's explanation, I already said Kanchi Paramacharya has not given direct explanation for this verse. But from what His Holiness said, I have taken bits and pieces. From there, I am of the view that this verse can be looked at from this angle also. Hence, what I am going to give is my thinking on this verse. When I say my, it is not from the ego point of view, because that is the one which we want to erase, which we want to kill. It is a caution that it has no sanction from the acharyas. We will get into the verse. Verse 65. Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pradijane prayosi me. This is the verse, verse 65. Before getting into this verse, we have to see a few more verses of what Bhagwan Krishna said or promised the earlier. In chapter 8, verse 5, Bhagwan said, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayadi samadbhavam yadi natyatra samshayah. In this verse, Bhagavan said, whoever it is, whatever be the nature of person, at the time of leaving the body, that is, at the time of death, if one remembers me and me alone, he attains my being, or he gains me. Arjuna, there is no doubt about this. So at the time of death, if anyone remembers me, he may be the worst scoundrel, but if he remembers me, he gains me. That is a promise. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, don't have any doubts on this. The last powerful willing or the last wish of a person is granted by Bhagavan Krishna. It is determined by his last thought. Then the last thought decides the destiny of the soul in the future. If you want Bhagavan, you become Bhagavan. You gain Bhagavan. In chapter 8, verse 6, Bhagavan said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaundeya sada tat bhava bhavitaham. Again Bhagavan Krishna said, whoever it is, at the time of leaving this body or at the time of death, thinking of any being, to that being alone he goes because of his constant thought about that being. This is very important. Because of the constant thought about that being. At the time of death, there could be a number of thoughts. But generally, thoughts would run through the habitual channels. The flight of thought at that moment would determine the direction of the pilgrimage. It is normal. Psychology is as you think, so you become. So Englishman also says the same thing. As you think, so you become. In chapter 8, verse 10, Bhagavan said, Prayanakale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bruvor matye pranamaveshya samyak Sadam param puruषमुपैति divyam. So Bhagavan says in this verse, whoever at the time of death, with an unshaken mind, full of devotion, by the power of yoga balena chaiva, fixing the whole breath between the two eyebrows, if he concentrates on Bhagavan Krishna, whoever is the seeker, he reaches the Supreme Purusha. That is what Bhagavan Krishna said in chapter 8, verse 10. So, from all these verses, what we can conclude is what you think at the time of death decides your future journey. One may have millions of thoughts, a number of desires. Our thoughts are our desires. All thoughts cannot be fulfilled. Impossible. So, whatever is your last wish, last thought, Bhagavan fulfills it. Take the material world. What is happening? Even a worst terrorist, scoundrel, who has been granted a death sentence, the government asks him, what is your last wish? So whatever is his last wish, government helps that fellow and it fulfills his last wish. This is before death. Whatever is your last wish, even it need not be a convict, even you are there. Suppose you are going to die, doctor says in another few hours, but you are able to speak. So people come and ask you what. Then you say immediately, change the will from my daughter to my son to my daughter. Something like that. You get angry because your son has not served. Or you ask for some sweet. You may ask for even samosa. Something like that. They fulfill it immediately. People rush and get whatever you want. So even if you are not a death convict, your relatives, they try to fulfill your last wish. That is what you are writing in your will. What is my last wish? How my assets should go to others. That is what your last wish. So after death, who will fulfill your wish? Whatever is your wish. Bhagwan Krishna promises, whatever is the last wish of a person at the time of death, I will fulfill for you. Before death, your relative or government. After death, Bhagwan Krishna. Now you can have anything as your last wish. But if you are a student of Bhagavad Gita, naturally the last wish or will of everyone will be to reach the feet of Bhagwan Krishna. How to reach Bhagwan Krishna? That is the question. How that thought will come, Bhagwan Krishna's thought, as a last wish. That is difficult. Today that is why Periyalvar says, Appodai kippodai solli vaithen. That means, I don't know at the time of death whether I will remember you or not. Are Bhagavan, now I am remembering you. You take this as a credit there. Adjust it. That is what Periyalvar says. Appodai kippodai solli vaithen. Similarly, how to think of Bhagavan Krishna at the time of death? There are two stories. Bhagavan fulfills your last wish. There are two stories from Bhagavad Purana. The story of Ajamila is one. He was a Brahmin by birth. He was educated in Vedas, wonderful character. Everybody was praising him. But one day, unfortunately, he was returning from a forest. He saw a beautiful prostitute and he started loving her. So he abandoned his family. To satisfy the prostitute, he took to illegal methods. He became a thief, gambler, started cheating people. Worst guy, character. The English saying is also, if you lose money, nothing is lost. If you lose your health, something is lost. If you lose your character, everything is lost. He lost his character. And time passes quickly. I am 63. Why? 2026 was born. 1 month already gone. January is gone, February. So Ajamila was in his deathbed. But at the time of death, he wanted to, he was fearing death. So he had some affection towards his son, last son, whose name was Narayana. He said, Narayana, the Yamadutas came to take him to hell. But immediately the Narayana Dutas, they came. They said, nothing doing. You cannot take him to hell because last wish was Narayana. Finish. That is enough. Even though he may not have remembered Bhagwan Krishna, he called Narayana, you go away. They chased them. They, the Yamadutas ran away. And Narayana Dutas, they took him to Vaikuntha. That is one story. Last wish got fulfilled. Another story was story of Jadabharata. He was a righteous king who retired to forest to lead a saintly life. He wanted to meditate on Narayana daily, day in and day out. He was meditating on Lord Narayana. One day while meditating, he saw a pregnant deer chased by a lion. The lion naturally chased it for food. So the deer, he was seeing that. The deer jumped into a river and died. At that time of death, it gave birth. The fawn was helpless. It was drowning, so he rescued it. Day in and day out, he started feeding it and protecting it. So at the time of death, his thoughts on Lord Narayana were replaced by the thoughts of the deer. Who will save the deer after I die? Like all of us, we always think, what will happen to my wife? What will happen to my son if I die or daughter? The same thinking. He was having the affection on the deer. Next Janma, his last wish was fulfilled. He was born as a deer. So whatever is your last wish gets fulfilled. These are the instances. Kanchi Paramacharya said in chapter 8, verse 5, Bhagwan Krishna has given one important condition which many people, many interpreters of Bhagavad Gita may miss. When you buy a share or a debt fund or a mutual fund, the instruction even that comes on the TV is you must read the offer document carefully. Every time they may say, that means you must read the offer document carefully. That is the way they say it in TV. Similarly, this verse, Bhagavan says, whatever is your last wish, I will fulfill. In that, Bhagavan gives an important condition. Antakale cha mameva. Kanchi Paramacharya says, Bhagavan has put one letter extra, cha. Antakale cha, which means it is not at the time of death. It means even at the time of death. That is why I quoted Periyalva. Appodai kippodai sollivite. Even at the time of death. Throughout your life, you may be remembering Bhagwan Krishna. You may be reading Bhagavad Gita. But at the time of death, if Bhagwan is not coming into your mind, but whatever you are liking, your sweet, your son, your daughter, your dog, whatever comes to your death, your last wish will get fulfilled. You will not be reaching Bhagwan Krishna. Impossible. Because last wish will only get fulfilled. The letter cha is very important. Antakale cha mameva, which means even at the time of death, you must remember Bhagwan Krishna. When you are hale and healthy, you must remember. When you normally, even if there is headache, Bhagavad Gita will go for a toss. If I am not well, Ayyo Amma Appa will come. No Bhagavad Gita, no Krishna will come. I challenge anybody. Impossible. Kanchi Paramacharya says, this means that throughout your life, you must remember Bhagwan Krishna or any Ishta Devata, and at the time of death also, you must remember your Ishtadevata. Then only you will reach Bhagavan. This is easier said than done. How to remember or think Bhagavan Krishna at the time of death? What is the sole aim and purpose of this life, especially human birth? That is why every Acharya says human birth is very rare. Don't waste. Don't waste in material pleasures. It is very, very rare indeed. That is what all the acharyas, any acharya, any guru you say, you see. After reading Gita, what I understood is that sole aim and purpose of my life should be to reach the Bhagavan Krishna's feet. What is the technique? How to reach Bhagavan Krishna? Bhagavan Krishna, according to me, gives that technique in chapter 18, verse 65. The English saying is, habit dies hard. Whatever you develop as habit remains till death. What is habit? Habit is nothing but regular practice which is developed by a man, which is extremely difficult to give up. You develop it as an habit, then you cannot give it up. How to develop the practice of remembering Bhagavan Krishna in all activities? That is what Bhagavan Krishna is saying, according to me, in verse 65. Manmana bhava mat bhaktaga madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pradijane prayosi me. A man can show his intellectual shrewdness in the outer world. That is what mind and intellect. You can show your shrewdness. Ah, he is such an intelligent fellow. Mind. He can show his emotions, good or bad. Love, it belongs to your heart. Sympathy, compassion, anger, they are all emotions. So bhakti is emotion. Mana is mind, intellect. Then you can show your profess or strength by your body. You can become Mr. India or Mr. World, Mr. Universe. You can show your strength by body or fighting with somebody, whatever it is. So, by body. So, three things. You can show your intellect by your mind, your emotions of love, sympathy, or anger by your heart, by bhakti, and your strength by body. So, these are the only true ways by which a man can express himself in the outer world. Bhagavan says, Manmana, that is, while showing your shrewdness, intellectual shrewdness, mind and intellect, mind, remember me at all times. I am the one behind your shrewdness. All your shrewdness is because of my presence only. If Bhagavan is not there, where is the dead body? Einstein, wonderful intelligent. Till today, people are saying Einstein, where is he? Once he is dead, who will say he is intelligent? When you will bury this body, not Einstein, body. Without his presence, where is the shrewdness? Mat bhaktaha. All your love and affections, your anger, your emotions, all those things, it is because of whom? Whose presence? Bhagavan's presence. Remember Bhagavan. Madhyaji, that is, whatever way you worship Bhagavan, whether by doing puja or doing selfless social work, it is because of whose presence? Without Bhagavan, everyone is zero. Material. Body is material. Matter. So in all your activities, Bhagavan says, you remember me. Manmana bhava mat bhaktaga madhyaji mam namaskuru. Always think of me. Do your actions, but remember that I am behind all your activities. Like the mother, she may be cooking, she may be in office, she may be watching TV, she may be chit-chatting with the relatives. But if the baby will be sleeping in a different room. Small movement of the baby. Mother rushes. How? During everything, her mind is on the baby. Always. Similarly, do all your activities. Bhagavan says, no, idleness Bhagavan hates. Do all your routine activities, but always remember me. Keep me in your mind. There is one more problem here. By remembering or thinking of Bhagavan Krishna, this may, instead of helping you, may push you into ditch also. What is the purpose of remembering or thinking Bhagavan Krishna? In all the activities, we want to erase the ego. Ego is the number one enemy. More the ego, more the distance from Bhagavan Krishna. So, even though you became a Bhaktiman, intellectually you are thinking, bodily you are thinking, with emotions you are thinking. But instead of the ego going, unfortunately, the same may become your enemy. It may bloat your ego instead of destroying it. I am the Bhakta of Bhagavan. Who else is there? I am Bhagavan Krishna. I am the devotee. I am the. It will come. Instead of erasing it, ego comes in another form. Hence, Bhagavan Krishna says, Namaskuru. Surrender to me. Surrender all your actions to me. Whatever actions you do, whether it is by your mind, whether it is by your heart, whether it is by your body, you not only remember me while doing those activities, but surrender those actions to me. In that case, you are erasing your ego also. Then, by doing all actions, by remembering Bhagavan Krishna, we have already seen habit dies hard. It becomes a habit. Every action is dedicated to Bhagavan Krishna. It becomes habit. Habit dies hard. So even at the time of death, by habit, by practice, you automatically think about Bhagavan Krishna without any effort on your part. Because it has become a habit. Even if your life goes in sleep, you will remember Bhagavan Krishna at the time of death. You will not have any ego because already you have surrendered everything to Bhagavan Krishna. Kanchi Paramacharya says, it is a shortcut method to reach Bhagavan Krishna. Like the material world, already I said, the government fulfills your wishes, your wish, not wishes, before death. In the spiritual world, Bhagavan Krishna promises, whatever is your last wish, I will fulfill the same. So Bhagavan said, it is a promise. Don't have any doubts. That is what Bhagavan said. So this is the way I think this verse could be interpreted. That is what I understand. That is what I think. Verse 65 again. Manmana bhava mat bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pradijane prayosi me. Next verse we will see tomorrow. Harihom sarvam krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 Narayana